Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehawada with the lesson. And I did a lesson basically on MOTB, and I named it The Biggest I Told You So, right? You know, it's about to basically the name of my lesson. And then I got this response in it, the reply of this James Green, right? And then he's asking me about thank you for the analysts and whatever, all this other stuff. And then asked me about trading the U.S. basically dollars into this. It's called Binance. And then I wake up, because I never even know what Binance was. I woke up, I did my response, and I told him, you know, hey, brother, I have no idea about any of that. We're basically, it's about faith, man. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, all other things will be added unto you. We're not here to be on this other thing. And then I look, and Binance, this thing I ain't even heard of, and so that's why it's crazy. I had named my lesson "Control Opposition" because that's what I kept saying, bro. Like, I don't even know why you did this. It basically seemed like you control opposition. I went back to my lesson where this was written. It's completely erased off of there. But you know, of course, I had already did the lesson, so I still actually have it. And so it says right here, Trump stable coin chosen for $2 billion, basically $2 billion from Abu Dhabi investment in Binance. Co-founder says, right? So that's so, and it's crazy. I kept saying this person seemed like control opposition. You know what I mean? Right? So this is Matthew chapter 13, verse 24, because basically I knew that was basically, control opposition. And, Yahushua did this parable and basically showing that's what this devil's all about, right? It says another parable put he forth, right, which is talking about Yahushua, unto them, saying the kingdom, right, which is talking about the rulership of Yahushua, right, and the 144,000 King David, right, the Israelites, right, the Esau's the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it, that followeth that, the forever kingdom, forever and ever kingdom, right, of heaven, right, which is going to be on earth, is likened unto a man that soweth good seed in his field, right, which is talking about the earth, right, but while he slept, right, and we know that there's a lot of Israelites asleep, so basically you're throwing in your control opposition, or basically your way to basically sow in your seed, which basically a thought, right? You want to put your basically your wine, your philosophy, or basically sow a seed, a wicked seed amongst the seed the good seed that we're putting down, that I was putting down, warning Israel of the impending uh, uh, um, decree of the king of Babylon, right? Basically, and the world, right? The elites, right? The international bankers, the elites, the shadow government, which is Lucifer, right? Which meaning light bearer, the so-called Illuminati, what they have in store, right? So just what you were doing, sowing your seeds, while the men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares amongst the wheat and went his way, right? Right? So that's pretty interesting that it said it like that. It said because up here it said it's likened unto a man which sowed good seed, but right here it says, but while the men slept, right, which is talking about, the nation of Israel, right? Because this truth begins with the men, right? The ones that you see raising up on the highways and the byways, speaking in truth and sincerity, giving forth that sacrifice, that living sacrifice, and also making digital epistles, right? So, because basically that goes back to what that Israel, because it says men, right, which is the nation of Israel, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right? A lot of you are asleep. Yeah. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 10. Isaiah chapter 29, verse 10. For Yahweh, right? It's like Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, right? And so, through the breaking of the law, right? The Lord said that He was going to send us forth into a land where there will be a yoke upon our neck until we have been destroyed, right? Which basically put a deep sleep upon us, things that we were wasn't things that at one point in time we were privy to. He took that that knowledge away, right? And put the spirit of deep sleep poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and has closed your eyes, right? Spiritual eyes, things that you would have been able to see, understand, right? Right? As far as, the oracles of the Most High, the scriptures, the Bible, the prophets, and your rulers and your seers, right? Have He covered, right? So then we didn't have true prophets, right? And it says, and the vision of all is become unto you as the word of a book, right? Which is talking about the Bible, that is sealed, right? So the wisdom, knowledge, the understanding, it was closed up to us. And see, here you are coming in like control opposition. A lot of our people are still asleep. So you're trying to slide that in as if, to plant a wicked seed, right? Why so-called why they're asleep, but there's a super great awakening that's actually happening, and the Lord's only dealing with the elect, and that's where sadly mistaken, right? That's why it says that they would try to deceive. Um, if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. So you came to my channel putting that wicked seed, but I gave you the correct answer. So then when I gave you the correct answer, I go back and the comment is wiped off. But you know, the water to Yahweh Bashim Shai had already did a lesson. I've already took pictures of it, you know, and it's already captured. So, but it shows that this is the level that you're willing to go, right? That you would even try to deceive the Lord's very elect, which I don't know if I'm the elect, but I'm a hopeful elect. So that was like a way to throw something out at someone that's even a hopeful elect, right? So these are the part of the trials, the test, right? Right. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. But yeah, to keep on going, it says book that is sealed, right? Which men delivered to one that is learned, right? Your so-called theologians, like Apostle Hart call it, a cemetery school, right? They don't, they do a whole lot of learning, this and that, but it's not according to the Spirit. It's not according to the Bible, right? Saying, read this, I pray thee, which means I beg you, I pray thee, and he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed, right? Yeah, the true knowledge and wisdom, understanding is sealed, right, to those who are not of the elect, right? You're not gonna truly get the understanding. It says, and the Bible, in the book, right, which is the Bible, is delivered to him that is not learned. All right, well, maybe there's somehow the Lord's dealing with this guy, right? That's unlearned. Saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot. He saith, I am not learned. So he think he needs to go to this theologian school, these cemetery schools, to be learned. But they only teach you so-called Edomite supremacy, what you call today white supremacy, which that's not according to the book, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's what you trying to throw in, right? This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs, right? Or people who look acting like they're trying to help you and pretending. What do you think about this Binance coin? Yeah, and really you was basically saying, what did the thing say? Something about oil, showing you're gonna have to buy your food with it. It was kind of scattered, but if you look at what it was saying, right? Matter of fact, let me get that. Yeah. So look, yeah, as you can see, there's Thomas Green. Yeah, you never trust a nigga named Thomas anyway. First of all, no, hey, man, that's just an inside joke, Yeah, so you talking about this Binance? How do you trade it in? And then even when you look at what it's saying, it's basically saying your air, carpet, Target, dish off, jeans, toilets, sweet. I don't know what it was saying. Spoil, fruit, something. Basically, almost like going into. It was kind of scattered. It's kind of like weird. But it's almost like he's saying, hey, like going into buying the things that so-called things that you need. Yeah, you need to be able to, to save yourself, to buy these things that you need. The jeans, clothing, fruits and shit, things that you eat. It's kind of scattered, like what it's really saying. But hey, I don't know if it was trying to say sweet potatoes or something. You know what I mean? I don't know what this thing. It's kind of, but then he goes into send them to Binance. So yeah. If you want to buy all your goods or something, I mean, right? So it's so yeah. So like it was saying, keep continue on right here. It says for there shall arise false Hamashiachim, false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, if it was a possible thing, if you slide in your little seed and try to plant your little seed of wickedness, right, of doubt, right, of unbelief, that everything will be, I could just trick this guy, and then somehow we'll be able to keep the kingdom. We'll just trick the elect, right, which the Lord already predestined, right, to not to lose. The Lord said, I pray for Peter, I have prayed for you because Satan has desired to sift thee, but I have prayed for you, and you will prevail. You ain't gonna lose. The Lord said, I pray for them. I pray not for the world. You pray for who? The elect. So his prayers are gonna. And it says the prayers of the righteous prevaileth much. So there's no prayer that's not gonna get answered from Yahweh Shai. If Yahweh Shai's prayer, it's gonna get answered. They shall deceive the very elect, if it were possible, but it's absolutely not possible, right? Yeah. So Isaiah chapter 26 verse 19. Isaiah 26:19, thy dead men, right, which is talking about you nation of Israel, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, you Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, right, or you Israelites who may even look like Israelites, but you ones that your phenotype may look like another nation, but your gene, your race, your rasa, your race, right, goes back into the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Which means your rasa, your race, right, is you're the right race, but it goes deeper than you being an Israelite, right? It's also unto the spirit, right? It says shall live together with my dead body, right? Which because Yahweh Shai was the sacrifice. He died and he rose again. Shall they arise, right? You're going to rise within Yahweh Shai. Yeah, right? Awake and sing, right? So we out here on the highways and the byways, we prophesizing. We're singing that new song. Ye that dwell in the dust. So we dwelt in that dust, right? Because at the time that Yahweh poured the spirit of deep sleep upon us. So we're in the dust. Dust meaning what? Confusion, right? Yeah, so this is Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 9. Then said he unto me, which is the angel, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the outer one, power of the Most High, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, come from the four winds, right? And where are we at? We're, as Israelites, we're scattered in the four winds. We're in the four corners of the earth, the four parts of the earth, and America being the fourth part of the earth. O breath, and breathe upon these slain, right? See, like we're dead, like in a dead state, right? Slain means to die. that they may live, right? So prophesy as I commanded. So I prophesied as he commanded me, Salakia, and the breath came into them, right? Being able to have the wisdom, knowledge, the understanding, and they did live and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great what army, right? So then we're just, you know, out to be that you know, prophets, right? Not to be a military as far as actual guns and prepared to war. This is a spiritual battle, right? And it's basically going to show you that. It says, and then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. See, all 12 tribes scattered in the four winds of the earth, right? In the four corners of the earth. Behold, they say our bones are dried and our hope is lost and we are cut off from our parts, right? And that goes into, you know, that the spirit of sleep that the Lord had poured upon Israel, but some Israelites are still in that you know, in that condition. But other Israelites, right, the ones that have that faith, the ones who are meant, who are set apart for the tawah, right, for the exemption, therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Adonai power of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakadash, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention, oh my people, which are the Israelites, right, I will open your graves, right, see, hey, they were dead, right, and cause you to come up out of your graves, right, and bring you into the land of Israel, right? Which, starting with the mindset first, right? You have to understand, you know, you were in a dead state of mind, right? And it says, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, right? That dead state of mind, right? Yeah, so this is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 16. The man that wandereth, right, which means to go astray, or, you know, going about like not really knowing where you're going. You just going, you know, you just going somewhere, wandering, you know, aimlessly, right? Out of the way of understanding, right? The understanding of what? The Bible. The wisdom, knowledge, the understanding of the scriptures, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of self, knowing that you're an Israelite, knowing the law, statutes, commandments, knowing that that is our inheritance, that's part of our nationality, our culture. How you know, to not know your your language and all these other different things, who we are, right? Right, to have the books sealed, have the understanding gone, for the Lord to have put a spirit of slumber or sleep upon you, so that you didn't understand and didn't know. And then now it's a time that the Lord says, I'm going to wake you up. But when there was a time when you didn't have the understanding, and this is the Lord said, we wandered out of the way of understanding, shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So whenever you wander out of the way, any man, which talking about Israelite man, Israelite man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead, right? And that's going into what it's just said. You had the dead bodies, and then I'm going to raise your dead bodies, and you're gonna sing, right, which is that new song, which we're doing now. So this is Psalms chapter 98, verse 1. A psalm, O song, sing unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, a new song, for he have done marvelous things. His right hand, which is Yahweh Shai, and his holy arm, which is Yahweh Shai, and the angels have gotten him the victory, right? Yahweh Shai was sacrificed himself, rose, sent it to the right hand of the Father, and is about to return him and the angels and get great victory, man. Right? And that's us singing that new song, right? It says, the Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, have made known his what? Salvation, right? Right? To who? To the elect. His righteousness have he openly showed in the sight of the heathen. So what? We raised up upon our feet and exceedingly what? A great army in front of the whole world, right? Right in front of all the heathen. All these nations know what's to come. Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 5, verse 9. And they sang a new song, thus art worthy to take the what? The book, right? Remember? Talking about the one was learned and got given the book. But he said, he's supposed to be learned, but he said he couldn't because it was sealed, right? And then the other one who was unlearned, he said, I can't because I ain't learned, right? Was worthy to take the book, to open the seals thereof, for thus was slain and has redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred, right? No matter where we were at, no matter where we were scattered, talking about the Israelites, though you may look like another nation, your bloodline goes back to Israel because salvation is for the Israelites. Even Yahweh Shai said it out of his own mouth. You know not what you worship. Salvation is of the Jews, which really he's talking about all of Israel, right? It's not talking about anybody in the world, any kindred, any nation. No, this kindred is talking about the nation of Israel, and tongue, and people, and nation, right? Which is talking about the nation of Israel, and has made us unto our power, right? Kings and priests. The only one who could be priests are Israelites. The only way you could be a prophet, you have to be an Israelite to be a prophet. A priest is like another way of saying prophet, right? And we shall reign on the earth, right? So we're going to rule over the earth with Yahweh Shai, right? And, and this is all going to be because of the righteous right hand of Yahweh Shai, and the angels are going to come and fight with him, right? These are things that's assured to happen, right? Well, might as well. Hey, look. It says, and I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne and the beast, right? And the elders, and the number of them were as 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands, man. Hey, so they finna come wreck shop, bro. Finna come wreck shop, man. Back over here to this is Matthew chapter 13. We're gonna pick it back up at 26. This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 26. But when the blades were sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also, right, amongst the wheat, right? So that's what you're basically trying to do. You're trying to basically sow in some type of doubt So that way, or basically someone has what a double-minded men, right? So in your doubt, or your basically your wine, your philosophy, right? Because this is James chapter 1 verse 8, a double-minded man. So you're trying to bring in something where there's another thought process mixed with the righteous thought process. So well, maybe it's this, or just maybe God can understand if I do this, then I can do that. He'll understand, because you know what, this does make sense too. So now you're weighing in two things that's it's not a sin necessarily to have money or to use money righteously, but it's when you're sowing in a thing that the Lord already warned us about there's coming a time where when buying and selling, right, is gonna it will be a sin, right? But that sin is gonna come with a physical mark, which is the karax grapho, right? Right? Yes, it's this is Matthew chapter 6 verse 24. No man, not one of us, not anybody, not no man, no woman can serve two masters, right? So you can't have another thought process, trying to create space for people to be double-minded, right? Right? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. He cannot serve the power of the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, and Mammon, right? And this other one says, right, no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted, right, to one and despise the other. You cannot serve the power of the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, and money, right? Right? So now the Lord understands, I'll just get the charagma. I'll follow all these ways, it ain't in my skin yet. So, I'll just focus on all these different methods and ways of cashless society. So that way I'm so engulfed in what I've gained, so that you're afraid to lose, right? So now once you're presented actually with it to be within, right? Because maybe they may start off with gradualism. You're a debit card that you know what, you can put your debit card in your phone. Everybody goes around with their phone and don't lose their phone. But sometimes you lose your phone, or someone steals your phone, or something happens. You know what? How about we put it within you, biometrics, right? Meaning your body, and metrics meaning an amount, right? A number, right? Being the way that they're able to buy and sell, right? Which this is what the whole lesson was about. But here it is, the devil being the devil, right?
Drinking himself drunk.
I'm gonna keep going. This is Matthew chapter 13 verse 27. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not thus sow its good seed, right, in thy field, right, in the earth, right? And then you put the good word out, right? For whence then had it tares? And he said unto them, an enemy, right, had done this. The servant said unto him, whence thus then had we that we The servant said unto him, wilt thus then have that we go gather them up? But he said, nay. But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest, and that's ultimately what we're waiting on. We're waiting on the time of harvest. I will say to reap, to the reaper, gather ye, which is the angels, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles, and burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn, right, which is the chariot, man, right? We all go up in that fathership, that great big flying mountain, the fathership. Lord willing, be part of that number, right? Back up here, right here in 13, Matthew 13 and 19, because ultimately this is what you're doing. It says, when anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and ultimately that's what we're doing. We're singing the new song, pushing forth the word of the kingdom, and understand that it not, then cometh the wicked one, right? Which are you, man? You work for Satan. You coming in with all that madness, talking about some goddamn what's it called? Binance coin, which coincidentally here it is. It's a thing that Trump is about to push, right? So we know that you're all about the elite. You are definitely control opposition, right? So overall, right? So you trying to bring in that thing to put some tares amongst the wheat, put in doubt, right? So therefore someone's walking around with double-minded or something, right? That's what you want, right? Then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown, right? So we're trying to sow into the righteousness and in his heart. La'ab is mine. We're trying to put in the righteous things, telling you to stay away from the charagma. Do not take it. Stay prayed up. Do not take the charagma, the graphel, which is the micro C-hip, right? We're trying to tell them, hey, this thing has been around for quite some time. Yeah, they had plans to do it in 2000, but they for whatever reason, the Lord didn't allow it to happen then. Why? Because many brothers came in and have now awoken, right? Came up out of this sleep, right? Woken up out of this sleep, right? In this time, so that they can to sing that new song, right? So what was that? So in their heart, la'ab, your heart, which is your mind. This is he which received seed by the wayside, right? So you're trying to see if you can kind of come in there and sneak in, be side with side hustling, you creeping in, see if you can, do some quick little madness, right? But Psalms. This is Psalms chapter 126, verse 2. Then was our mouth full with laughter, right? And this is a time of getting that victory, right? Getting in those chariots, praising Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, call Loyum Yahweh Bashman Shai, praising him, thanking him, man. Hey, the righteous shall scarcely be saved. Hey, we're gonna have laughter. Our mouth will be filled with laughter, and our tongues with singing, right? Singing the song of Moses, right? Victory through Yahushai. Then said they among the heathen, Yahweh have done great things for them. And Yahweh have done great things for us, right? Right? Dealing with the elect. Wherefore we are glad, right? Turn again our captivity, right? So we're no longer going to be under any Edomites, Ammonites, Moabites, Hamites, Elamites, Ishmaelites, right? We will never be under any of you nations ever again, right? O Yahweh, as the streams in the south, right? Man, hey, it's going to be like real water, right? Like the scriptures, man. It's like real water. It's like refreshing, basically. That's what it was going into. It's going to be like refreshing, right? And that's what we do, a kainos, a refreshing, right? They that sold in tears, right? We cried, we sold, right? In tears, right? The good man, he sold in tears, right? In the time that he was asleep, or the men would sleep, right? In the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, being sought as proverbs and bywords, basically nothing. You niggas, you spicks, you just a drunk Indian, you're nobody, right? Come to find out we're the sons of the power, right? Shall reap in joy, right? So, hey, man, though you try to sow your corruption, right? Throw your tares amongst the wheat, right? Throwing your different philosophies, your different democracies unto your technocracy, right? You're not gonna. Hey, it's what it said. I mean, plain and simple. If it were possible, you would deceive the very elect. But it's not possible. It's not possible. If it were possible, which means it's not possible. He that goeth forth and weepeth, beareth precious seed, right? So ultimately, we're those wheats, right? When the wheat is amongst the tares, right? Which that wheat represents the Israelites, but more important, the elect of the nation of Israel, right? Which we read that's going to go into the barn, and that barn is the chariots, right? That's salvation, right? Right? Bringing us back, right? Turn again our captivity, breaking us, basically bringing us out of captivity, right? Shall doubtless come again with joying, bringing his sheaves, right? Because ain't that what he said? Take the bundle, which is a sheaf, the bundles, and put it into my barn, right? Which is dealing with the wheat with him, right? So we're going to be cheering and celebrating, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to your sisters, your Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And we want to give, hey, Kwame Yasharala and a Baba Ball.